Okay, and we're live. Okay, and we're live. Fantastic. Tonight's stream is going to be a big one, both in, I guess, length and in terms of impact on the game, because this week, as alluded to previously, the set is the Cybernetic Revolution. And additionally, we're also going to be talking about the sneak peek card, which previewed the same day as Cybernetic Revolution. Wish it had been just a little bit earlier, then it'd be GOAT format legal, but hindsight 2020. On top of that, we're also going to talk about the Shonen Jump 2005 promo card, the promo cards from the video game Nightmare Troubadour, the cards from the Collectible 10s Series 2, except for the reprint, then cards from Star Deck 5 Warriors Triumph, and finally finishing off with another Tournament Pack 7. The best part of every week. Let's go. Hello, Milo. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Okay, let's get right into it. This set is a huge turning point for the game. And it's all because of one card, but also some strategies that evolved alongside that one card. But first, let's talk about the sneak peek promo. This is Embodiment of Apophis, and I practiced saying that name several times. Continuous trap. During the main phase, special summon this card as a normal monster. Reptile, Earth, level 4, 1600 attack, 1800 defense. This card is also still a trap. Trap monsters are interesting. If these were in the Duel Monsters era, I know this is a Merrick card and it should be in the Duel Monsters era, but it was released alongside GX cards, don't worry about it. I think it would have a lot more impact. Trap monsters have some very interesting mechanics that you can use them for Xyz material, but they still function as traps. They're weird. They make some gimmicks occur. This one's just a normal monster, but some of the later trap monsters get abilities on top of this. I think the idea of setting a trap and then getting access to a mediocre normal summon monster as an additional summon is really interesting. I think in GOAT format specifically, this card might have been okay, but the whole game gets faster this set. I don't know if trap monsters ever get to be an actual deck, but I know there's a lot of support over the years. I'm going to say good on release. Not great. Probably ranking it a little bit higher than it deserves, but I like the card. It's not a lot of tempo, but, you know, it can also disrupt your opponent. They have Don Zaluga on the field. You summon a 1600 attack monster that can't get in for the damage. Not bad. Moving into Cybernetic Revolution, we get our first card. Oh boy. Cycroid. Earth attribute, level 3, machine normal. The most lovable and friendly of all the Vehicroids. It can arm itself with training wheels. 800 attack, 1000 defense. This card is fusion material for Pair Cycroid, if that matters for anything. It's level 3, Machine Earth, normal monster. I guess that means that there's some Rescue Hedgehog cards, or Rescue Hedgehog combos that can be made with this card. It's goofy. You can recur it with Express Roid. Wonder Garage is not bad, but it's still a normal monster. I think it's just gonna go into filler outclassed. I'm always hesitant to rank normal monsters too low because sometimes there's just the perfect storm, like we saw with Marmot Archfiend of Nefariousness, where Equip Cat is a whole deck and it benefits from it being both a beast, a normal monster, and an Archfiend, which is crazy. Next up, Soitsu. Wind attribute, level 3, Fairy. Apparently totally unreliable. He wonders if he has incredible potential. He doesn't. 0 attack, 0 defense. This card is one of the Parodius references. So we had Aitsu and Koitsu. Soitsu and the union monster for this are in the set. And together, the 4 are like that guy, this guy, which guy, and what guy. Each one is a different pun based on their name. A little bit lost in translation. I'm just gonna hopefully say that it's filler outclassed. Is there a wind fairy level 3 monster that you want to special summon out of the deck with rescue hedgehog? Maybe. It's got 0 attack, 0 defense. That's sometimes a benefit, depending on what format you're in and what specific synergies you have. I think it's silly. Next up, Mad Lobster. Water attribute, level 3, Aqua. A gourmet food renowned by the Dark World upper crust. It has sensational flavor. 1700 attack, 1000 defense. I think Mad Lobster is Konami's attempt to make level 3 monsters relevant. We get Jerry Beansman 2, which is about the same thing. It's a little sad. You can't even use Wetlands with Mad Lobster because it's too high level. But you can attack under Gravity Bind, and it's got lots of attack points for a level 3. I don't know. I've played contemporarily against a deck that used Mad Lobster and Jerry Beansman and Level Limit Area B and Gravity Bind, and of all things, Sword of the Soul Eater, where you tribute normal monsters to boost up the power of another one. It was not a good deck, but I still lost because I was a little kid. So I think it's just going to be filler. We're not going to uncensor Soitsu, just for the record. I think it's okay. Next up, Jerry Beansman. Earth attribute, level 3, Plant. Jerry, a bean soldier, believes he is the strongest warrior in the world. He's not, he is a plant, but his true abilities are still untested. 1750 attack, 0 defense. And still outclassed by a lot of your beater monsters. I'm wondering if Jerry Beansman might enable Plant Synchro with Rescue Hedgehog? Possibly? A weird deck? I don't know. Weird. Wasn't Mad Lobster involved in an art plagiarism scandal? I have no clue. That's some interesting lore. I actually have a misprint of this card where it's missing one of the background layers, but I had no idea that this card was controversial. In terms of impact for Jerry Beansman, I'm thinking filler. Maybe you can get something going if you really try. I don't know, he's funny. I think he might be gimmick because of the same reason that Neko Gal #1 is, where people just think they're funny and try to incorporate them. Next up, Winged Karibo level 10. Light attribute, level 10. Fairy effect. Cannot be normal summoned /set. Must be special summoned with transcendent wings. During your opponent's battle phase, quick effect, you contribute this face-up card, destroy as many attack position monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined original attack of those destroyed monsters. 300 attack, 200 defense. This card is laughably difficult to bring out. I think Transcendent Wings takes 2 cards out of your hand. Let's see. Yeah, Transcendent Wings. Send 1 face up or face down Wing Karibo you control and 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard. Yeah. So you're going -3 just to get out Wing Karibo level 10. Is it worth it? I don't think so. This card has incredible counterplay opportunity for your opponent, where they can just not conduct their battle phase that turn. And then they can avoid it, and you go into main phase 2, make a Scrap Dragon, pop your Wing Karibo level 10, and then you're out of resources. On one hand, you did, force them out of their battle phase for 1 turn. That's not bad. But you could do that a lot cheaper and without tributing your monster. I think the downside of your opponent playing around this card really hurts it. Theoretically, though, you can deal a lot of damage. Lightning Vortex plus Flame Wingman effect, yeah. And I agree, way too difficult to bring out. Thank you, Yugi. This is one of your cards. Well, I guess an evolution of one of your cards. It's even weirder that this is a level monster that doesn't function like other level monsters. I know we get Armed Dragon level 10 pretty soon, but there's also a Wing Karibo level 9, which is totally unrelated to this card. It is very, very strange. I guess you could put this back into your deck with Graveyard in the 4th dimension, but you can't level up into it or level... Maybe you can level modulation, because that ignores summoning conditions. We'll look that one up. Okay, so level modulation, not a good card, but your opponent draws 2 cards, special summon 1 level monster from your graveyard, ignoring the summoning conditions. So I'm pretty sure you can bring out Wing Karibo level 10. The monster that is special summoned by this effect cannot attack, nor activate or apply its effect this turn. So it's about the same amount of card disadvantage, where you're still going -3 to bring it out. You don't activate the effect during your turn, you activate it during your opponent's turn. I don't think that this is a functional use for level modulation either, if you wanted to try to cheat it out. I also don't know why it's level 10. I guess Montage Dragon might benefit from it. High level monster. I don't know. I feel like if it were level 8, then at least you could discard it with trade-in. Next up, Patroid. Earth attribute, level 4, machine effect. Once per turn during your main phase, you can look at 1 face-down card your opponent controls, then return it to its original position. This is the same effect from Patrol Robo, and this is Patroid, so I wonder if that's a coincidence. 1200 attack, 1200 defense. This is such a marginal benefit. It's sort of like Man with Ujat. I said it correctly this time. Not Wujat, Man with Ujat. Where you get just a tiny piece of information. On the other hand, it doesn't cost you anything. I guess you could bring it out with Giant Rat or some of the other Roid support. Stats are really bad, though. Next up, Jetroid. Wind attribute, level 3, wind, effect, machine. I said wind twice. Machine, effect. The first time this card would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. 1000 attack, 1000 defense. Really mediocre effect. We have Spirit Reaper. I guess Spirit Reaper's at 1. We get Marshmallow pretty soon, and Marshmallow does pretty much the same thing. There's a few more monsters that resist battle destruction. It's level 3. I don't think you use it in archetype even. I think it is fusion material for Super Viacroid Jumbo Drill, maybe? I know it's fusion material for Steam Drilloid. I think it's just underwhelming. I wouldn't play it in my Roid deck. Next up, Steamroid. Earth attribute, level 4, machine, effect. If this card attacks your opponent's monster, this card gains 500 attack during the damage step only. If this card is attacked by an opponent's monster, this card loses 500 attack during the damage step only. 1800 attack, 1800 defense. So sorta like Spirit of Flame, where it gets a boost when you attack on the offense, but I don't understand why this card had to be nerfed, why they felt it necessary to not give you a 2300 attack monster on your turn and then an 1800 attack monster on your opponent's turn. There could be some interesting applications for that. 2300 attack is also a pretty important breakpoint because you can bring this out and then take out your opponent's Cyber Dragon, which is in this set. I'm sort of leaning towards acceptable in archetype or maybe good on release. It does have a serious drawback. It has 1800 defense all the time, though. I guess you could set it if you wanted to. I don't think you're building Roids as a beatdown deck, though. It might just be better off in filler. We'll keep it in filler for now. I might be persuaded to move it up or down. Next up, Drilloid. Earth attribute, level 4, machine, effect. Before damage calculation, if this card attacks a face-down monster, destroy that monster. 1600 attack, 1600 defense. And this card was meta. You would tech Drilloid into your deck sometimes just to get out of face-down monsters without flipping them face-up. It's not a bad effect. And you would see this card teched in, and it's really interesting. In terms of, do you play it in Roids? Yeah, you probably play it in a contemporary Roid deck. It's not the best Roid, though. It's a better version of Sasuke Samurai. I don't know if I'd go that far. Just because Sasuke Samurai can be searched with reinforcement of the army and Drilloid can't, it's a little harder to get Drilloid at the right time. The warrior toolbox is just so strong. Next up, UFO Roid. Light attribute, level 6, machine, effect. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one machine monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in face-up attack position. 1200 attack, 1200 defense. This card is so weird and janky. This card has one gimmick application where you use it in a crazy train of events with Witch Doctor of Sparta. You go like Nova Summoner, Shining Angel, UFO Roid, UFO Turtle, Mass Dragon, and then Troop Dragon, I think? And you just go through a whole bunch of cards in your deck. You can also do this with the Bistro Busher. It's just really funny that it relies on UFO Roid as that branch between Shining Angel and UFO Turtle of all things. Is that a good idea? Is this a good deck? I don't think so. But it is a funny thing that has happened before. I think we have a place for that. I really wish this card were a little bit better, though. Because UFO Roid Fighter isn't bad. It's a little bit strange that we get it so early in the game. I don't know. I feel like we needed to get some more of the elemental fusions before it. But it's fine. We don't even get Elemental Hero Tempest yet. So there might be some lore problems. If UFO Roid were a level 4, I think it'd be much better. I also don't understand why it's not... This card doesn't work in your Roid deck. A lot of your Roids, like your Drilloid and your Steam Roid, you're not bringing out. I guess you could get Patroid, Express Roid, Gyroid. Can you get Jetroid? You can get Jetroid. I don't know. I think the card is just not good yet. I don't think it's going to improve, but I think it's just going to live in the gimmick tier. Next up, Jetroid. And I wish this card was just a little bit better. Wind attribute, level 4, machine effect. At the time this card is selected as an attack target by your opponent's monster, you can activate trap cards from your hand. 1200 attack, 1800 defense. So it's not once per turn. This is not Makura the Destructor because it has to be on your opponent's turn while they're attacking. But I guess there is a little bit of weird potential. I guess if you're running like Jara Greed, Legacy of Yatagarasu, Reckless Greed, maybe you could draw a whole bunch of cards, but then the attack still goes through. This card just doesn't play like Makura the Destructor does. Don't get me wrong, I like that this card is not as strong as Makura the Destructor, but in terms of practical application, it is so niche when you're not better off to just set your trap card and let your opponent attack. You have to be in such a specific situation that you have your face-up Jetroid willing to take an attack, but you're not willing to set your trap card. I guess your opponent could lead with Mystical Space Typhoon or Heavy Storm, but I'd just let them destroy my trap. I think the card reads gimmicky, but overall is just okay. I think droids are just filling that territory. If you tried really hard, you might be able to get something that's sort of okay out of it. Are there any floodgate traps this plays around? Wouldn't you only summon this during the battle phase, though? I could see you bringing it out with Flying Kamakari number 1, I guess, or maybe you're pulling this out of the deck with UFO Roid? I don't know. You got Ultimate Offering in the game still at this point. Why aren't you? You could special summon it during your opponent's turn with Ultimate Offering and then activate things. Does that improve it? Call the Haunted, your Jetroid, and then surprise your opponent, and then replay battle, they got to attack into this, and then surprise, I have another trap up my sleeve? I think we might be giving this card too much thought. But it's just one of those cards. You read it, and you think it has potential. there's probably some jank out there. Next up, Rottweiler. This is hero support in one of the weirdest ways possible. Earth attribute, level 3, machine effect. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, target one elemental hero card and one polymerization in your graveyard. Add them to your hand. 800 attack, 1200 defense. This is a +1, but you need to have a very specific situation. I guess the idea is you lead on your first turn with a fusion summon. You got your material in the graveyard. You haven't used your normal summon yet, so maybe you set Rottweiler. They attack into your Rottweiler, and then you get back a little bit of advantage. I think this card is overshadowed by another card in this set, which is a little sad. Battle triggers are okay at best. They work in GOAT because GOAT's a format with not a lot of removal, but as the game gets faster, it gets easier to pop things. That's a good question. I think Rottweiler is just bad. Stats aren't good. Typing's off. By the way, Rottweiler is so interesting visually. Wish elemental heroes had more support animals like them. They got a ton of support animals. All the Neospatians. But I'm not sure those count. Glad you made it, Malachite. Ooh, question about Wing Karibo level 10. If you bring it out with level modulation, do you first need to special summon it properly? I don't know. That is a good question. If it's semi-nomi, I believe. Like Blackluster Soldier, you special summon it properly and then you can bring it back with Monster Reborn. I don't know how Nomi monsters interact with ignoring summoning conditions. It sounds like it would work because Spell Gear brings out Ancient Gear Golem. But I guess that's just one of the rulings that you have to look up. I'm not sure the ruling exists though, just being honest, because I'm not sure anyone in the history of the game has ever tried to bring back Wing Karibo level 10 with level modulation. But you could be the first. I agree though. I like the alien animals in Strike of Neos, I think is when we get our first Neospatians. I think they're great. When we get to that stream, it is going to be some surprising results. Next up, another card that Jaden just randomly has. I saw this in the anime, and it doesn't really synergize with his deck. I don't know why it's there. Earth attribute, level 4, Dark Catapulter. Machine effect, once per turn during your standby phase, if this card is in defense position, place one counter on this card. You can banish cards in your graveyard equal to the number of counters on this card, then target that many spell and traps on the field, destroy them, then remove all counters from this card. Whew. 1000 attack, 1500 defense. Dark Catapulter. Happens to be Earth attribute, yep. Upper deck says you can't special summon the level 10 with level modulation without properly summoning it first. Okay. I just don't know why Jaden has this card. In fact, when he gets Stratos, this card's completely obsolete. It's a lot of hoops for spell and trap destruction, and remember, we get Breaker the Magical Warrior. Ooh, That might be an interesting thing. I've never seen it visually, but now that you point it out, Milo asks, did they want to give Jaden his own catapult turtle? And I see it. It's got a lot of the same attributes as Catapult Turtle. This one's a lot more balanced. Catapult Turtle is degenerate. MST but with counters, and you have to remove cards from your graveyard. It's more hoops than Breaker the Magical Warrior. Breaker goes to banned at one point in the game. Pretty soon, I think. I just think it's bad. I guess the ideal circumstance is you have Giant Rat, you special summon this guy, and no, that doesn't even work because it'd be in attack mode. Maybe if you had Stumbling or something? Mechanically cool, but insanely slow. I like that. And the payoff just isn't there for me. If you're banishing cards from the graveyard, you might want more of an impact. I guess it's cards and not monsters. Your monsters are way more valuable in the graveyard. Your spells, I guess you got Magician of Faith, could potentially bring them back. But your traps in the graveyard, no one's running Mask of Darkness. Seriously. This card being a reference to Catapult Turtle, though. I can see it. They're going to make another Yugi, and then they just pivot all the way hard left, way into the elemental heroes. Yugi's deck is nonsense, and Jaden's at least has a theme. And I guess Yusei's deck is sort of nonsense, but at least it's good cards. Next up, Elemental Hero Bubble Man. Water attribute, level 4, warrior effect. If this is the only card in your hand, you can special summon it from your hand. When this card is summoned, you can draw 2 cards. You must control no other cards and have no cards in your hand to activate and resolve this effect. 800 attack, 1200 defense. So 1. Special summoning from hand. Not as relevant as it used to be. You have to get down to 1 card in hand to activate it, which is not the best. Searchable with E-Call, searchable with Rhoda. But that top deck, that situation where you are on your last ropes and you draw Elemental Hero Bubble Man, feels amazing. Because you go +2. This card is better than Pot of Greed. It gives you a little bit of board presence, and if you draw into something like Mask Change, Miracle Fusion, Raigeki, there's a whole bunch of good things that you can draw into now. I think this is the first time we're going to put a card into worth considering today. Not just an archetype. I think this card is just splashable enough that it might see a little bit of play in niche situations. Not even just in Elemental Heroes, or Masked Heroes, or Vision Heroes, or whatever jank hero deck people are running. Before Inferni Archfiend, this was the patron saint of top decks. I like that. Used to think Bubble Man was awful, but he's really cool in the right format. Bubble Man's always been good. The water attribute's pretty important too. Acid and Absolute Zero are really good. Absolute Zero doesn't even take an elemental hero as fusion. It just takes a hero in general. So you could be running this in your D heroes, maybe. I don't know. I think it's definitely worth considering today. Not for that top deck potential, not for the easy special summon, just all the things that are going for it. Being searchable helps a lot too. Next up, Cyber Dragon. Light attribute, level 5, machine, effect. If your opponent controls a monster, Oh, I'm sorry. If only your opponent controls a monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. 2100 attack, 1600 defense. It's weird. I feel like the effect has changed wording in a way that's less intuitive. If only your opponent controls a monster doesn't sound right. I think it should be if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters. They chose word economy, but it reads a little bit weird. Maybe it's just me. This card is not just meta at one point. This card is format defining. This card single-handedly kills the GOAT format because it is just such a high tempo play. If your opponent mounts any defense against you, you special summon Cyber Dragon, and you can beat over anything that they can normal summon. That on its own is crazy. And then it sets up for other plays. You could then immediately tribute it for a Monarch, like a Thestalos, a Zaborg. Ryza's not in the game yet, but one day you'll get Ryza. This card, we haven't even gotten into the fact that it's Cyber Dragon. We haven't even touched down on the name, the typing. Just this effect is amazing. It's a lot less good now. This is also material for a few different cards. It enables cards like Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon and Cyber Tech Over Dragon, and obviously Cyber Twin Dragon and Cyber End Dragon, which are in this set. Cyber Dragon is acceptable in archetype if you enjoy modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I personally do, but if not, it might be a design mistake. Ooh. Did you read my old message that was Wing Kariba level 10 since you were talking about it and your opponent playing around it? I did, and it's sad that you can't use level modulation on it. The archetype was also great and aged really well. I don't know if you're running Cyber Dragon as a deck now. Cyber Dragon Nova is pretty good, but a lot of the cards just don't match up. I think we're just going to put it safely in meta at one point. Acceptable in archetypes more like when your archetype isn't the metagame. For me, it's if you're wanting to play Roids, then yeah, you'll play this card, even though Roids are never really meta, except for that one time when they did get a top at an actual tournament, but that's a fluke. I guess I gotta think of a different archetype. Like B.E.S. If you're playing B.E.S., this is one of the cards you'd play, you know? There is a lot of support for Cyber Dragon. Cyber Dragon and Black Wings, man. Konami loves those cards. Actually, they've been giving a lot of attention to GX in general. I don't know, it's like a second renaissance. Maybe it's just that the dual monster craze has shifted to now everyone's nostalgic for GX. And in 5 years, it's going to be 5Ds. That's going to be fun. How much of their support is any good? I'd say Cyber Dragon Core, all the fusions. Do you count Overload Fusion as Cyber Dragon support? If so, that card's amazing. Cyber Repair Plant is pretty good. There's a decent amount of Cyber Dragon support. That is good. There's definitely some chaff mixed in with the wheat, but amazing card. I think we're gonna move past it and on to some of the other cyber cards in the game. Next up, Cybernetic. Next up, Cybernetic Magician. Light attribute, level 6, spellcaster effect. You can discard one card to target one face-up monster on the field. That target's attack becomes 2,000 until the end phase. 2,400 attack, 1,000 defense. This card's okay. It's sorta like a Monarch, not quite Monarch stats. The effect's interesting. That you could either boost one of your monsters and then possibly attack over something, or make one of your opponent's monsters weaker so that this card could attack over. I think this card is underwhelming compared to Injection Fairy Lily, which can also boost really high, gets under Gravity Bind, doesn't take a tribute. I think I might be talking myself down out of this card. I know it was considered to be decent at the time, but I think everyone was undervaluing Cyber Dragon at the time. It's interesting how many of these cyber cards are in the set. I know that's the name, but they did justice. Next up, Cybernetics Cyclopean. Earth attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior, effect. While you have no cards in hand, this card gains 1,000 attack. 1,400 attack, 200 defense. Is Beast Warrior. I guess you could be running Tenki and get Cybernetic Cyclopean out when you're playing. Well, I was going to say Fire Fist, but it doesn't really synergize with Fire Fist, so when you're playing a Beast Warrior deck, you could tech it in. I think the effect is just a little underwhelming. 2,400 is a big number. Get over Cyber Dragon, that's good. But Steamroid gets over Cyber Dragon. Condition's pretty hard too. This no cards in hand condition, I don't understand it. I think that's one of the mini themes. I think the next 3 cards in general are focused around that. But sort of feels backwards, like you're rewarding bad play too. Where you want to hold on to your cards in hand, you want to use them effectively, you don't want to just burn through them. I don't know. There's also, what is it? Theban Nightmare that has a very similar effect. Where Theban Nightmare gains a whole bunch of attack when you have 0 cards in hand. But Theban Nightmare you could bring out easier. And I think it was level 3 too. Let's check. Nope, Theban Nightmare is level 4, starts with 1,500 attack, and gains 1,500 attack when you have no cards in your hand, nor in your spell and trap zones. So the condition's actually harder on Theban Nightmare, but you do get more attack. I think it's just going to be filler. You pull it off a rat, it's okay. It's great in Infernity decks. Ooh, I never thought of that synergy. I mean, just think about it. You got the Fiends and you got the Beast Warriors. They go together like peanut butter and olives. Next up, continuing with this theme, we have Mechanical Hound. Earth attribute, level 7, machine, effect. While you have no cards in your hand, your opponent cannot activate spell cards. 2,800 attack, 1,500 defense. The first time I read this card, I thought it was a conditional spell canceller. And it is sort of like spell canceller. Spell canceller is a little easier to get out. It's level 5, not level 7. It's also wind attribute. It's got a little bit less attack points, but it's also unconditional. I think the wording might be a little bit different in spell canceller too. I think this is a big hoop to jump through for an okay effect. We also got like Horus the Black Flame Dragon level 8, and even the level 6. That's not bad. I think Silent Swordsman has a similar effect. There's a lot of spell suppression, but I don't see it as particularly good. It's not Imperial Order, and it's not like Secret Village of the Spellcasters terms of suppression. And it's conditional. I think the card's just bad. Next up, Cyber Archfiend. Dark Attribute Level 4 Fiend Effect. At the beginning of your draw phase, if you have no cards in your hand, draw one more card in addition to your normal draw. During the end phase, if you have one or more cards in your hand, destroy this card. 1000 attack, 2000 defense. Theory crafting, I wish this card was a set or two earlier. I know it's Cyber Archfiend in the Cybernetic Revolution, ahaha, theming is on point. But this card sort of empowers the Archfiend archetype that exists right now. You could bring it out with Mystic Tomato, and then possibly gain that double draw effect during your opponent's turn, or during your turn when it gets to be your draw phase. Or I guess you could set it and your opponent attack into it, but Cyber Dragon's in the game now, so you can't really set 2000 defense monster without possible blowback. This card does synergize with Pandemonium because it destroys itself. On the other hand, there aren't any good level 3 or lower Archfiend monsters that you could search off of Pandemonium with this card. So it's sort of a letdown. You can get Deathstroke Archfiend, and Deathstroke Archfiend is a hand trap that's only good if you're running Terror King Archfiend. And even then, it's okay. Cyber Archfiend feels underexplored in old formats. Well, I think it's just overshadowed by Cyber Dragon. I think Archfiends in general, completely playable in GOAT format, maybe a little jank. But if you're running, Needle Sealing, Cyber Dragon, there's something that you can put together because Pandemonium's just so good. And searchable. Terraforming's got 3. The effect is great. He gets easier to cheat out in a few sets. Talking about Mechanical Hound, I think. That's true. I guess if you cheat it out, it's not so bad, but I'm just underwhelmed. Do you play Cyber Archfiend at any point in time when Archfiends were okay in the metagame? Possibly. This card's effect is sort of similar to the Agent of Wisdom Venus, too. And that card's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. I think we're just going to put in filler. Stats aren't bad, though. If you're very generous, I'll say good on release. Draw power is win power. Next up, Goblin Elite Attack Force. Earth Attribute, Level 4, Fiend, Effect. Wow. That's strange. If this card attacks, it is changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase, and its battle position cannot be changed until the end of your next turn. 2200 attack, 1500 defense. I don't think you could change this one with card effect like you can with Goblin Attack Force, where you can shift it back into attack mode with, I don't know, stop defense. There are ways to do it if you wanted to, but this one you just can't. 2200 attack, so you lose 100 attack points, and you gain 1500 defense points. That sounds like a great trade. You still hit that good break point where this card could attack over Cyber Dragon, and then you're not immediately going to die to Sinister Serpent or whatever your opponent top decks. I just don't understand why this card's a fiend now. Warrior meant Roto support, but I guess that was just too strong. They do look like fiends, to be fair. Goblin Elite Attack Force is a 2200 defender who doesn't lose to Drilloid, who can sometimes swing in for 2200 damage. I'm not arguing that. Jirai Gumo was also a big wall that you summon in attack mode that could get in for damage. Is this card better than Jirai Gumo, which was meta at one point? I don't know. I think we're comfortable just putting in good on release. If there's a meta deck that used this card, like a top tournament winner, and I'm just not aware of it, I wouldn't be surprised. Next up, B.E.S. Crystal Core. Water attribute, level 5. Machine effect. When this card is normal summoned, put 3 counters on it. This card cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card attacks or is attacked, remove 1 counter from this card at the end of the damage step. If you cannot, destroy it. Once per turn, during your main phase, you can change 1 face-up attack position monster your opponent controls to face-down defense position. 2100 attack, 1000 defense. I can't find any rulings on Goblin Elite Attack Force, but I'm gonna assume the omission of cannot be changed is just old text being weird. It's like how old rituals kinda lie in their text, yeah, where they can only be ritual summoned by their respective ritual. But this is a fairly new reprint of Goblin Elite Attack Force. I don't know. Maybe it's a little jank. Back to the Bacterium Empire ship. That's what B.E.S stands for, if you're wondering. This card is a reference to Gradius, and it is fantastic translation of the mechanics of the game into Yu-Gi-Oh! So it starts with counters, and you can see in the artwork that it's got 3 shields. So whenever it's involved in battle, it's going to take damage to one of those shields. When all the shields are, removed, then it becomes vulnerable and destroys itself. It explodes. That is really cool reference to Gradius and how that game worked in terms of being a shoot 'em up. I like it. In terms of actual impact on the game, it's interesting that you could Book of Moon one of your opponent's monsters. Not as useful if it were just a Book of Moon in general. You can't reset your own flip effects with this. 2100 attack isn't that much. On the other hand, it is that very special breakpoint where you can attack into a Cyber Dragon and not be destroyed by battle, and then take it out. That's not bad. I just don't see this card being much better than a Monarch. It's great in Junior Journey format. What on earth is Junior Journey format? I've never heard of that. I think tentatively it's going to go in good on release. It's interesting being a water machine. You don't see a lot of those. Next up, Giant Kozaky. Dark attribute, level 4, Fiend effect. If there is no face-up Kozaky on the field, destroy this card. If this face-up card is destroyed, inflict damage equal to the original attack of this card to its current controller. 2500 attack, 2400 defense. Theoretically, you could get Kozaky out and then creature swap this, give it to your opponent. They take 2500 damage and lose their monster. But Zombie Mammoth does that better when we get Zombie Mammoth. I know that's a lot of sets away, but this card's more funny than it is useful. That's a 3-card combo and it deals mediocre damage, but it does take one of your opponent's monsters, but you're not running Kozaky, and that's the hard part. Ooh, there is a very fair point that this is the strongest level 4 monster in the game at this point, and it is the best skill drain beat summon. 2500 attack, normal summon, that's not bad. I can see it. I think we're going to be generous and just put it right here. I don't know if it's the best normal summon under skill drain. We still have Behemoth, King of the Beasts. Behemoth might be better than this card because it'd get its full attack back. Fusilier, the dual mode beast. We don't have Barbaros yet. When we get Beast King Barbaros, that card, best card yet under skill drain. It's got a little bit of interesting jank. Interesting. Okay, junior format was a joke format made by Mono Bluetron, where tributing wasn't needed for high-level monster summons, and you were limited to only one spell or trap per turn. I don't know. We don't really evaluate, you know, unofficial formats. We don't even talk about Duel Links, to be honest, but I guess we sort of talk about Master Duel, but Master Duel is, you know, kissing cousin to the main game. Just a little bit of different flavor. I can see it being good in that format, though. I can see a lot of cards being great when you don't have to tribute them out. It reminds me of the Bondi rules, I guess. Maybe not an archetype, but something revolving around the scientist himself, referring to Kozaky. I can see that. Kozaky's just one of those cool cards. I love the lore of Kozaky, magical scientist, Dr. Frankenderp, all these guys being friends in the dark world and, I don't know, colleagues. They're all intertwined. The lore is amazing. I don't think it's ever going to get to archetype status, though. But I've been wrong before. They'll make an archetype out of anything. Next up, Indomitable Fighter Lele. Earth Attribute Level 4. Beast Warrior Effect. If this card attacks, it is changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. This card's battle position cannot be changed until the end of your next turn, except with a card effect. 2300 attack, 0 defense. I wonder if this card's going to get errata. I guess you can get it out with Tenki. I feel like this card sort of power creeps Giant Orc. It's got a little bit more attack points, and Giant Orc had its Union Monster counterpart, and this card gets a Union Monster counterpart. I don't know. Is this card better than Jirai Gumo? Sort of. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. What if Goblin Attack Force had less aura? I like that explanation. Not searchable by Rhoda, though. I think it's just going to be an outclassed. And there definitely needs to be an extended lore video on Gagigo, All the Dark World, and being set as a 90s comic run would be fantastic. I can wholeheartedly agree with that. Just the lore of the cards is amazing and incredibly interconnected, and it is super hard to dissect. I've been really intimidated to ever try to talk about Gagigo, the Dark World, and everything. I've thought about it a lot, though. So, our second Goblin clone is Protective Soul Ai-Lin. Light Attribute Level 1, Fairy Union. Once per turn, you can equip this card to an Indomitable Fighter Lele you control, or unequip it to special summon this card in face-up attack position. When equipped to a monster by this card's effect, you can change that monster's battle position once per turn. A monster can only be equipped with one union monster at a time. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle, destroy this card instead. 0 attack, 0 defense. You can bring this out with a couple different cards if you wanted to cheat it out, but I don't think it's worth it. Are you really using Valhalla Hollow the Fallen to bring out Protective Soul Island? Probably not, when you could cheat out so many different fairies. There's a special card for level 2 or lower fairies, I think, that could get this one out too. I think this card's just underwhelming. I think the whole union mechanic needed some work. If they could equip themselves from hand to the monster, that'd be a lot better, because then it wouldn't be wasting 2 normal summons. It'd be sort of like running a different form of an equip card. It's also so specific. Having to line up 2 cards in hand is harder. Lele theoretically power creeps Goblin attack force due to Eileen, but, you know, union monster's bad. Isn't this just Giant Orc and its union, but with slightly more attack? Yes. But I actually think the Fiend type is significantly better than this combination of Beast Warrior and Fairy. Second Goblin, at least, you know, could synergize, and there's not a ton of good Fiend support out in the game yet. You get, like, Bark of the Dark Ruler, that's not bad, and I guess Puppet Magic of the Dark Ruler, the one that can revive your monsters, but it costs, you know, banishing cards. Giant Orc can trigger Deck Devastation Virus. That is a very good point, too. So can Zombira the Dark. And speaking of which, is this card, you know, Lele, better or worse than Zombira? I'd take Zombira still. I think we're just going to put it in bad. I guess you could special summon it out from hand with, like, frontline base and... maybe. Next up, Doitsu. Earth Attribute, level 4, Fairy Union. Once per turn, you can equip this card to a Doitsu you control, or unequip it to special summon this card in attack position. When equipped to a monster by this card's effect, that monster gains 2500 attack. A monster can only be equipped with one union monster at a time. If the equipped monster would be destroyed by battle, destroy this card instead. 100 attack, 200 defense. This is a big hoop to try to jump through, which I guess jumping through a big hoop would be easier. This is a small hoop to try to jump through. I think we can just say that it's bad. It doesn't even synergize with Doitsu very well. They're different attributes. Artwork's cool, at least. Looks like he's having a good day. Next up, Desfrog. Water attribute, level 5, Aqua effect. When this card is tribute summoned, you can special summon Desfrog from your hand or deck up to the number of tadpoles in your graveyard. 1900 attack, 0 defense. It's interesting that you can only get the effect off of a tribute summon. It's like they were thinking of a legendary ocean and thinking, oh, if you can just normal summon this at 1900 attack plus 200 for Alo, it'd be too strong to get that effect. This is a collect 'em all card, and I think the next set has way more of them, but this is the first that we really think about. I guess Dawn Turtle is another collect 'em all. We've seen them, Bubonic Vermin and some others. The amount of setup that it takes for Desfrog is a little sad. There is Descroaking in this set, and Descroaking is actually a really good effect, but it's just hard to get 3 Desfrogs out on the field. It's not Short Circuit. Short Circuit, significantly better. Doitsu, yeah, which guy? Or the other guy? Frogs are an incredibly fun GX era archetype. That claim may be contested. Frogs are interesting. I think Dupe Frog is significantly better because Dupe Frog treats itself as Death Frog, and then it enables Death Croaking. Death Frog itself was probably the last Death Frog related card I ever saw from the set. He confused me for so long. Oh, that would be so sad. Seeing just Death Frog and nothing else. Maybe you saw the tadpoles, but without the payoff of Death Croaking. Oh, that's sad. Fun, not good. Frogs don't get good for another 4-ish years. Oh, and then Frogs ruin the metagame with Substitute Mass Driver combo. FTK your opponent, no counterplay. And contemporarily, there was also a very good version of Monarchs that was using the same combo and Roid and Totem and just tributing a Monarch with all the frogs in your graveyard. That combo was good, but we can't have nice things because Mass Driver wasn't banned. And I guess Cannon Soldier and Toon Cannon Soldier and Amazoness Archer, and there's a whole bunch of cards that would have to be banned. And I guess the easiest route was just ban Substitute. A little shame, though. In terms of impact for Death Frog, though, I think I'm going to put it in bad. I don't think you're ever going to pull this off, even at the time in 2005. Speaking of Death Frog, what does Tadpole do? Water attribute, level 1, Aqua effect. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to your graveyard, you can add any Tadpoles from your deck to your hand. 0 attack, 0 defense. It sort of reminds me of Slushy, but not as good. Or Volcanic Shell, maybe? This is a battle destruction trigger, which, we're losing ground on that every day. Going +1, this card is sort of an underwhelming Thunder Dragon, which is not good. It is ammo, if you just want to discard them. But at that point, you might be running Oja Magic and getting, 3 additional cards off of Oja Magic. A very bad shell seems like the best description. Yeah. It's underwhelming. Volcanic Shell, completely playable. This card, not so much. And it's a shame, too. At least we get, Treeborn Frog and Slushy and some other aquas that sort of feel the same niche. Wish Tadpole were better. Isn't Tadpole supposed to stand for a bunch of words like torment, agony, despair, pain? Keep it going. What's the OLE? Loneliness? I can't think of O. Obstinacy? Obligations? And E is exaggeration? I don't know. I have no clue what Tadpole is supposed to stand for. But I like it being short for torment, agony, despair, pain. It does look menacing. Oh, it's a bit in errata video. Interesting. I haven't seen rank 10 trains in a long time. I wonder what he's been up to. Next up, Poison Draw Frog. Water attribute, level 2, Aqua effect. When this face-up card on the field is sent to the graveyard, unless it was attacked while face down and destroyed by battle, you can draw 1 card. Interesting. 100 attack, 100 defense. So the first place my brain goes with this card is that you can use it as synchro material, but then I remember it's a when, not an if, so this card's going to miss the timing if you use it for a synchro summon, which is not good. I guess you could summon in an attack position. There's another card that sort of does that. With, what is it called? The Shinobi card sort of does that. I just can't think of a time when this is good. It's a sent to the graveyard effect, which is good. It's just, it's going to miss the timing. Does anyone know when he doesn't miss the timing? At least Poison Draw Frog was a name for was a name when you're playing Frog FTK. Oh, I guess we gotta put it in Gimmick then, or possibly in meta at one point, because that was meta format warping. Interesting. I can't think of it. It's sort of the Pettin problem. Why do these cards exist? I really wish they'd do problem-solving card text to just remove missing the timing. I guess it does increase the skill ceiling a little bit, where you can play around certain effects, chain your cards appropriately, and then cheat your opponent out of something. It just feels bad and is hard to explain to new players. I can agree, though. I'd also put it in Gimmick if you wanted to put it in Gimmick, because that whole deck is a gimmick. A very successful gimmick. Next up, Tyranno Infinity. Earth attribute, level 4, dinosaur effect. The original attack of this card is the number of your banished dinosaur monsters times 1000. Question mark attack, 0 defense. And let's just think back to last set when we got Lost Guardian of all cards. That card got 700 defense for each of your banished rocks. So Tyranno Infinity, offensive counterpart, gets a bigger boost. I can see this being your win condition in dinosaur decks. You have Survival Instinct, or maybe you have some other cards to banish your dinosaurs. I don't think it's bad. I think it's gonna happily be in Gimmick, though. Frogs seem to be notorious for missing the timing. Dupe Frog is also guilty. Man. Bro thinks he's king of the Skull Servants. Yeah, I guess there's no inherent protection for Tyranno Infinity. King of the Skull Servants, you know, at least can resist destruction a little bit. I could see this card being good, but then you have to ask yourself, when is this card better than Grin Majida Isa? And the answer is situationally. I'm going to say it's okay. Next up, Batteryman C. Light attribute, level 2. Thunder effect. If all Batteryman Cs you control are in attack position, all machine-type monsters you control gain 500 attack for each Batteryman C you control. If all Batteryman Cs you control are in defense position, all machine-type monsters you control gain 500 defense for each Batteryman C you control. 0 attack, 0 defense. I mentioned in the last stream, in the Lost Millennium, when we were talking about Batteryman AA, that if it boosted all your monsters, then it would be better and less gimmicky, I guess. This card is weird because Batterymen are thunder type. They're not machines. So I guess you can get lots of Batteryman C out to boost your other monster's attack or defense. This card doesn't synergize with the archetype it's in. I guess this is just general machine support in the Cyber set. I don't know, it's weird. Konami hasn't figured out archetypes yet. Except they completely cracked it since Archfiends are pretty good and Gravekeepers are rogue and I don't know. Dark Magicians are fun and janky. one of the worst archetype support cards of all time? I don't know if I'd go that far. At least he's cute. Makes me want a plushie of him. I don't know. The batterymen in general, to me, they just don't feel right. They don't feel like batteries. I think we're just gonna keep it in very bad. Stats are terrible too. 0 attack, 0 defense. I guess you could Inferno Reckless Summon this, but it's outclassed by Batteryman AA. Of all things. Next up, Ebon Magician Curan. Dark Attribute, level 2. Spellcaster, effect. During your standby phase, inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each monster they control. 1200 attack, 0 defense. I guess this is an upgrade over Peruku? Maybe? It's definitely a counterpart to Peruku. During your standby phase, though, so this card has to survive a turn or be brought out during your opponent's turn. And it's not even that much damage. It is better than gaining life points, though, so. Are you running this card over Solar Flare Dragon, which does damage every turn? Does 500 guaranteed. Are you running this over Flame Princess? Are you running this over Stealth Bird? Stealth Bird doing 1,000 damage each turn. Probably not. This card does have some support in another set, and it's important for the lore, but it's not very good. I think I'm demoting it. Oh no, this card was super rare? Yeah, that would suck if you got one pack of Cybernetic Revolution and this is the card that you pulled. Especially when you could have gotten the Cyber Dragon. One of the other storyline stars. Too bad her trap cards are all better. That's true. Peruku's Circle of Enchantment was pretty good. So, the princess, well, they're not princesses yet. Spoiler, they become princesses. The princess cards do have decent support, I guess. Peruku's Second Sight was awful, though. Next up, DDM. Different Dimension Master of Redundancy. Light Attribute level 5. Spellcaster effect. Once per turn, you can discard one spell card to special summon one of your remove from play monsters. 1700 attack, 1500 defense. This effect is good. If you ignore the cost, this effect is actually really good. I almost said great, but I don't think I'm going quite that far. The problem is it's on a level 5 monster, which is sad. If this card had just a 200 less attack, or even just switch its attack and defense, then you could bring it out with Shining Angel, and it'd be significantly easier to use, and you could even run it in your Chaos deck. But right now it's just a little awkward. Would you trade a random spell in your hand for one of your banished monsters? Probably, because that's the same rate that Different Dimension Reincarnation gets. And that card's really good in a lot of different formats. It's also an equip card, so it has some other benefits, and this card reads really well. And it's so sad, too. I like the Different Dimension cards. I just don't think this is a good one. And it's so sad. Another card that feels underexplored historically. How do you get it out, though? Some of this card without tributing in junior format, I guess. I guess then that's pretty strong. There's probably a way to make this card playable. It is a spellcaster, so actually, when we get, that card's coming up, isn't it? the card that special summons Spellcaster from both players' decks with 2,000 or less attack. This fits into that. Interesting. Okay. Maybe there is something to this card. It's got that little bit of glimmer of potential that I see in Jetroid. This card is even more balanced, though. It's once per turn and costs a spell from your hand. That's not cheap. Someone a little bit better with jank in old formats might be able to find something for different Dimension Master. But let's move on. Steam Gyroid. Earth attribute, level 6, machine fusion. Materials are Gyroid and Steamroid. Wow. Maybe it's an alphabetical thing, but I feel like they messed up the material order. That Steam Gyroid should be Steamroid plus Gyroid? I don't know if that's just me, though. Are fusion monsters usually in alphabetical order? I don't know. Isn't this guy kind of a double downgrade? Let's think about it. 2200 attack, 1600 defense, so it's got less attack than Steamroid when you're attacking into it, and you don't get the battle destruction immunity effect. Why couldn't this get the combined effects of Steamroid and Gyroid? Ooh. How is his attack worse than attacking with Steamroid? Absolute trash. It would be a lot better if it did have Steamroid and Gyroid's effect. 2700 attacking in. That's a pretty decent number. I think it'd be okay. But right now it's just one of those very underwhelming fusion monsters. Except you can get this out with Ready Fusion if you wanted to. It hits that threshold for what that's worth. And it's a non-effect fusion monster, so and it's a machine. There might be something that you can do with Ready Fusion, I'd say. But other than that, I want to put in Gimmick. But I understand if you want to put it in very bad. It's one of those cards that defies categorization. Next up, UFO Roid Fighter. Light attribute, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Level 10? Level 10. That's crazy. Machine fusion effect. Materials are UFO Roid and 1 warrior type monster. A fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials. The original attack / defense of this card becomes the combined original attack of the 2 materials used for its fusion summon. Question mark attack, question mark defense. And I guess you're thinking about this and your head is going to, man, what if we got Gate Guardian and UFO Roid together? This card would have lots of attack. It's got flexible materials. It's weird. Well, it makes sense that it's light attribute, but it'd be somewhat better. I guess you can't bring it out with Overload Fusion, even if you did try that. Never mind. It's got that specific fusion summoning requirement. This does mean that you can use UFO Roid with Fusion Conscription. But I think this card just gets outclassed by Evil Hero Dark Gaia. And that card's janky fun. Are you running Gate Guardian to empower your UFO Roid Fighter? Even with all the new Gate Guardian support, no? Could be a funny OTK with power bonds specifically. Ooh. I think it's just too janky. I like it. I like its fusion material. Would power bond inflict the damage to you if you fusion summon UFO Roid fighter specifically? Let's see. Okay, so power bond, fusion summon. Okay, so its original attack would be okay. So power bond would still do damage to you because it's the original attack and defense. They thought about it. If UFO Roid was super easy to summon, then this could be a pretty good super poly target. That'd be nice. I guess this card's really held back by UFO Roid. And it's so weird that Tempest is in the card's artwork, but we don't have Tempest yet. I think we're just going to keep it in bad. Next up, Cyber Twin Dragon. Light attribute level 2468. Machine fusion effect. Materials are Cyber Dragon and Cyber Dragon. A fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials. This card can make a second attack during each battle phase. 2800 attack, 2100 defense. You know what card doesn't treat it as a fusion summon? Cyberstein. You can just cheat this card out with Cyberstein. And that's how this card was played. It was one of the options that you could run with Cyberstein, and the other big one would be like Blue Eyes Ultimate or Cyber and Dragon, whatever have you. This was one of your win conditions in that deck. This card sorta outshines Cyber and Dragon in the right circumstance with limiter removal, or I guess with really outshines it when you get Megamorph on it. I don't know. Can deal pretty absurd damage. Can you run this card in modern day Cyber Dragons? I guess you could, but I don't see it being benefit. To me, one of the weirdest things about Cyber Dragons is that they don't look the same. Like, one of the heads has spikes and the other one has wires. It gets worse with Cyber and Dragon, where all three are different. I don't understand why they couldn't pick one design for the Cyber Dragons. Yeah. Cyber Twin starts the new visual trend of each upgraded Cyber having new heads but similar bodies. I think it's pretty cool personally, says Malachite. I don't know, it's weird to me. There's a lot of different variants of Cyber Dragon, so maybe it makes sense that maybe there's a Proto or a Cyber Dragon Zwei or a Cyber Core that's being used to make these monsters, maybe. I don't know. Cyber Twin got outclassed by Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon in modern builds. I agree. None of the fusion heads look like the OG Cyber Dragon, by the way. Thank you, Milo. You remember pulling Cyber Twin from a pack? That is pretty good. I'm jealous. I pulled Cybernetic Cyclopean out of a pack. But I don't think I got anything good out of my Cybernetic Revolution. I don't think I even got Power Bond. Next up, Cyber and Dragon. Light attribute, level 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Machine fusion effect. Materials are Cyber Dragon, and Cyber Dragon. A fusion summon of this card can only be done with the above fusion materials. If this card attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. 4,000 attack, 2,800 defense. It was played in the exact same way that Cyber Twin Dragon was. This was your primary win condition in your Cyberstein Cyber and Dragon OTK deck, which was later supplanted by Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, or Chimeratech Over Dragon. I don't know if you would consider running Cyber and Dragon. Even if you wanted to run Fusion Conscription, you're probably better off with Chimeratech Fortress Dragon or Over Dragon in your extra deck just to enable Fusion Conscription. I don't know. Its best days might be behind it, unfortunately. Next up, Power Bond. This card's pretty hype. Fusion summon one machine fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material. And it gains attack equal to its original attack. During the end phase of the turn this card is activated, you take damage equal to the amount of attack gained by this effect at the time of the summon. Man, the wording is so particular. I think Power Bond was fun. It's got a definite downside. It's an all-in card. But this card sort of power creeps polymerization. Its benefit now, just gaining more attack points, isn't great. But the fact that this card works from your hand or your field is pretty good compared to like Fusion Gate, which would banish them, or a lot of the other fusion support that we get now that's just cards on the field. Easy meta at one point, I agree. Ooh. Interesting comment about Cyber End. Should be worth considering today because you dump it from the extra deck for the Cyber Dragon Cyber Dark support. Interesting. Power Bond has a searcher nowadays, and it's still played in Cyber Dark decks. If Cyber got more support, it could be meta soon. Ooh. I think we're pushing these two onto the edge of worth considering today. I can go for that. It's lonely at the top with Bubble Man. Speaking of which, next up is Fusion Recovery. Normal spell, target one polymerization in your graveyard and one monster in your graveyard that was used as material for a fusion summon. Add them to your hand. This is not once per turn for what that counts for. I think this card is just a great +1. If your deck is fusion summoning, you might want to tech in Fusion Recovery. I think it's worth considering, not necessarily going to find a home. It is a little bit weird that you have to keep mental track of everything in your graveyard that was used for a fusion summon, because they're not always going to be listed on the card. I think you can definitely get some mileage out of it. Next up, Miracle Fusion. Normal spell, fusion summon one elemental hero fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion material monsters mentioned on it from your field or graveyard. Miracle Fusion is your comeback card in Elemental Heroes. This card is fantastic in hero decks. I think this card has gotten better over time because there's just random hero monsters that you can bring out. I guess Absolute Zero is pretty flexible. But some of the ones like Naos Knight you could bring out with running a Naos engine, and there's some slightly jank cards that you can run with Naos. If you're running it in archetype, easily it's acceptable in archetype. It elevates the entire archetype a couple tiers in my opinion. Are you running E-Heroes specifically, though, is the question. If this card just worked on all hero monsters, it would be insane, because then you could run it in Destiny Heroes and Vision Heroes and Masked Heroes, and the card would be broken. Sunrise searches Miracle Fusion. It's a staple in modern hero decks. That's fair. Maybe the best archetype support card in history, and the first truly S-tier fusion card. I can agree with that. Practically necessary for modern hero decks. Any type? Okay. I think we're going to put in worth considering today. We're seeing a trend. Definitely seeing a trend. And that trend continues with Dragon's Mirror. So I wish this card were in GOAT, but then we'd have to have Cyber Dragon GOAT, and, you know. Normal spell. Fusion summon one Dragon Fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your field or graveyard. This card's more flexible than Miracle Fusion, and you can get out some interesting cards. Like, I believe you can get Starving Venom Dragon out relatively easily, but there's a lot of different fusion monsters that you can bring out with this card. This card easily meta at one point, but I think it's worth considering today. I think Dragon's Mirror gets a little bit better as the game progresses, because I think fusion requirements get less strict as the game gets older. Is Five-Headed Dragon out yet? Maybe. Five-Headed Dragon comes out with Structure Deck 9 Special Edition? That's when it comes out? That's weird. Yeah. Dragon's Mirror is so close to being good, but it unfortunately doesn't have fusion in its name. If you could use all the fusion card support, that would make it better. I agree. I love Dragon's Mirror and flexible in Dragon Fusion, and also fun in the video games. Yeah, it was in the Dino Structure deck. Why? This is so weird. Because there was a Dragon's Roar Structure deck that was released earlier. Obviously, Dragon's Mirror and the Dragon Structure deck bringing out Five-Headed Dragon might be too strong for the game. That is so weird. Dragon's Mirror in general might be too strong if it were combined with the right cards. I can understand if you just want to put Dragon's Mirror in meta at one point. I guess you gotta sell the Dinosaur Structure deck somehow. Very weird card to include, though. Next up, System Down. Yeah, the structure deck with Five-Headed Dragon is the dinosaur one. Konami, who's in charge? But next up, System Down. Normal spell, pay 1,000 life points, banish all machine monsters your opponent controls, and in their graveyard. I think this card is evergreen side deckable, if that makes sense. That there's a lot of points in the game where this card is in your side deck, but not a lot of points in the game where you're willing to main deck it. The effect is just really strong. It's one-sided too. We got Acid Rain last set, or I guess last tournament pack. This card power creeps Acid Rain. It does cost life points, but it's also one-sided. So you can have all your own machines That doesn't matter. And it wipes their graveyard, and half of the game feels like it's played from the graveyard nowadays. Worth considering today, obviously. It's also the first print, which bafflingly states that it doesn't take battle damage. Man, Five-Headed Dragon was just weird. The hose of all hoses, yeah. System Down is way too strong of a type blowout card. Yeah, I can agree with that. I like that it exists in the game. Part of the reason machine decks have a hard time being meta, I don't know. Your side deck is so valuable. Every card matters, and unless you got like a tier 0 machine deck running around, I don't know how often you're going to be playing System Down. Still worth considering today. I think the card is really strong. Generously, this card reads Raigeki plus Big Burn. That's fantastic. Next up, Death Croaking. Normal spell, activate only while you control 3 face-up Death Frogs. Destroy all cards your opponent controls. And artwork's a little interesting. It's got the same dark, veiny, or dark, fiery texture that Tadpole has on the music notes. I think this card is just underwhelming. It's not Short Circuit. We don't get Short Circuit yet. I guess we'll elevate it to just bad, though. The effect's good. I wonder if there's a way that you can skip the activation requirement and cheat out this effect. I don't know if this card works in Diamond Dude Turbo, since you'd skip the activation requirement and just get the effect. Interesting. There might be a gimmick with that. Absolutely, I meant at one point because the frogs count as Death Frog and you can skip the requirement with Diamond Dude. Okay. That's fair. I forgot the other frogs treat themselves as Death Frog. Was one of the best Diamond Dude targets. I can agree with that. That's weird. See Death Croaking so far above the actual Death Frog. Next up, possibly the worst card in the game? Pot of Generosity. Return 2 cards from your hand to your deck, then shuffle your deck. Normal spell, that's the whole effect. Don't draw cards, don't gain life points, don't special summon monsters from your graveyard, you get nothing. This card is -3. And the situation where you're ever going to get any use for this, I've heard, and this is real, that people would put this in their side deck because they were worried about decking out and have this extreme desperation play where they're activating Pot of Generosity to prevent deck out. That's not a good idea, because there's pretty decent cards in the game, like Outstanding Dog Maron, which recycles itself to prevent deck out. Gift of Greed is arguably worse than Pot of Generosity. I can see that. Gift of Greed just allows your opponent to draw 2 cards. The thing about Gift of Greed, though, is that you can use Appropriate to get that card advantage back. Force your opponent to draw cards, and then you, by extension, will draw cards off of Appropriate. I know Appropriate's hard to activate, that you need them to draw cards first, and then you start drawing cards the next time they draw cards, but that's a little jank. I just don't understand the benefit of Pot of Generosity. I refuse to believe that this card is your deck out preventer over the Sword of the Deep-Seated from Metal Raiders. That is a good point. I still think Mechadoc Maron, but this is what, grade school logic was at the time. I remember hearing it. People that don't understand the mechanics of the game, like 8-year-old at the time. The card's really bad, but at least we get some of the later pot cards out of Pot of Generosity, all the fusions, the different ones that come out later. I think it might be important for the lore, at least, I guess. The counterpart to Pot of Greed, arguably worst card in the game. It goes up there. It's definitely one of the worst forms of card disadvantage. Next up, Shien Spy. Normal spell. Select one face-up monster you control to activate this card. Give control of the selected monster to your opponent until the end phase of this turn. So this card is 100% gimmick. But I want to point out something that was possibly intentional. So this is Shien Spy, and it comes out in Cybernetic Revolution, right? Well, in a few sets, we get 6 samurai cards, which are based around, Great Shogun Shien, and later some other Shien cards. This card is like the vanguard of that archetype, coming out several sets ahead of it to prime you for the 6 samurai, and it functions as a spy. In terms of actual effect, it's just jank. You can give your opponent something like the Bistro Butcher if you want to, and then draw a whole bunch of cards off of the Bistro Butcher. You can give your opponent a lot of different things, to tell the truth. It enables a lot of weird combos, because a lot of cards require your opponent to have a monster. Sometimes you can give them absolute trash, too. It's a fun card and a lot of bad FTKs. I think it's just gonna live in gimmick tier. I do think, though, the fact that this Shien card comes out so far before the 6 samurai cards, that's some beautiful set design. She gathered information so Shien would know what effects to give his monsters. Their success was an inside job. I love that comment, Malachite. Real cool flavor, though. Next up, Transcendent Wings. Quick play spell. Send one face up or face down Wing Kuriboh you control and 2 cards from your hand to the graveyard. Special summon 1 Wing Kuriboh level 10 from your hand or deck. At least it isn't a brick in hand. Ooh, Shien Spy is part of your win condition when you run Jackpot 7 with Hippo Carnival and Dark Scorpion Burglars. Yep. That's jank. That's a gimmick. Hippo Carnival, man. Transcendent Wings, though, I think we're just going to put it in very bad. It's just such terrible card disadvantage. The artwork's weird, too. That's not even Wing Kuriboh. Who is this? I don't know. It sort of implies like this could be activated on other monsters. Maybe it could in the anime. In the anime, I'm always confused how they have like all these fusion cards and all these specific cards. Are they generated by the dual discs, or do they own these in paper somewhere? Man, such a waste of card advantage. Next up, Bubble Shuffle. Quick play spell. Target 1 face-up attack position elemental hero Bubble Man you control and 1 face-up attack position monster your opponent controls. Change both those targets to defense position, then tribute that elemental hero Bubble Man, then special summon one elemental hero monster from your hand. Why? Why does this card have so much text? I don't understand. So you need to have a face-up attack position monster. Your opponent needs to have a face-up attack position monster. They both get changed to defense, and then you tribute your Bubble Man to special summon, what, Blade Edge out of your hand? Blade Edge isn't in the game yet, but you get what I'm saying. That's your big payoff? That's what you have? If this card just shifted your Bubble Man to defense position and then special summoned a hero from your hand, it'd be a little bit better. I just don't understand why you have to tribute your Bubble Man. I guess the block attack effect is slight upside. We have a hero emerges, which can special summon, monsters from your hand. We have a rival appears in the very same set. We have conscription. I guess. There's a lot of other ways to special summon. Why does it have so much text? It's not even modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Thank you, Yugi. Even if this just worked on any of your elemental hero monsters, it'd be bad, but it takes Bubble Man specifically. I guess they could have slapped like a once per turn and a whole bunch of other garbage on it, but it's bad enough already. Next up, Spark Blaster. Equip spell. Equip only to elemental hero Sparkman. So, strike against the card already. Very specific. You gotta match those two cards up in hand. During your main phase, you can target one face-up monster. Change the battle position of that target. After you use this effect 3 times, destroy this card. Why? This effect is not very strong. In terms of tiers of card effects, shifting battle positions is really low. Unless your deck is dedicated to it like Karakuri, you're not getting much benefit. I don't understand. And it's shifting the battle position, but then they can just shift it back next turn. So I guess you can attack over something, but you only have 1600 attack. You don't even get any more attack points with this card. This card is bad. Next up, Skyscraper. Field spell. If an elemental hero monster attacks a monster that has a higher attack, the attacking monster gains 1000 attack during damage calculation only. I think this card is really well designed. That if you're the underdog, you can make up that disadvantage. 1000 attack points is a lot. If this card gave all your hero monsters 1000 attack points, it'd be amazing. Necro Valley gives 500 attack points, and Necro Valley is pretty good. You don't run Necro Valley just for that effect, but Skyscraper is interesting because this card is searchable in archetype with elemental hero gold, and you got terraforming. The anime effect is better. I agree with that. I think it's acceptable in archetype. I think I'm just going to put it there. Other decks would like Skyscraper in their archetype, I'd say. But the situations where it's useful isn't great. I like the idea that you can beat over a lot of things, though. It's definitely situationally good. I can agree with that. Could you imagine getting this card out with like Demise of the Land or Set Rotation? Really catch your opponent off guard? Metaverse? Good night, Milo. Next up, Fire Darts. Normal Trap. Activate only while you have no cards in hand. Look, another one of those no cards in hand condition. Roll a 6-sided die 3 times and inflict damage to your opponent equal to the sum of the die rolls times 100. So what is this? Expected return 1050 damage off of a trap card? Honestly, this card's okay. And that's about as far as I want to go. Man, does it look metal though. You got like a skull with a change of heart, different wings. You got an eyeball being grabbed by it, and another eyeball. There's a lot of stuff going on in this card. I don't understand why the other darts don't have the same wings, but this card looks cool. It's Demon Dice, or whatever the Joey card was called. It's not quite Skull Dice. It's not bad. I think that this card is okay in burn decks. The problem I have with it is, like, burn decks already waste their card advantage and get to the point where they only have one card in hand. This card is random too. You could low roll. There's, I don't know, a really low 1 in 216 chance, I think, to do 300 points of damage. There's also a 1 in 216 chance to do 1800 damage. But you're expecting about 1,000, so. No design mistakes yet. I don't know if there are any design mistakes in this particular stream. Oh, I see one though. There's at least one I can say. I think Fire Darts is good. I think I might have seen it in a burn deck before. But you might also have better options. Do you run this over Tremendous Fire? Maybe. Technically, it's better. Ooh, someone's excited for the spiritual arts. Especially the fire and the water ones? Well, we'll start with Spiritual Earth Art. Kurogane. Normal Trap. Tribute 1 Earth Monster and target 1 other level 4 or lower Earth Monster in your graveyard. Special summon that Earth Monster. Gotta make sure that it's an Earth Monster. I think this effect is okay. I think format dependent, you might get a little bit of usage of this. I don't think you're tributing anything that gets a tribute trigger. I mean, I guess, what is it? Miyabi? The wind one? Yeah, Miyabi. You could tribute Kujaku, and then you could get the trigger off of that, but I don't think you can off of Kurogane. There's also not a great card that you can just special summon and get this effect off of. I guess maybe Gillosaurus is the best option. And the effect is underwhelming. It's capped at level 4 too. You're going -1, tributing a monster on field, and then you're getting mediocre monster back. I think it's just filler. Next up, the difficult to pronounce Spiritual Water Art, Ao-E. Tribute 1 water monster, look at your opponent's hand, then send 1 card from their hand to the graveyard. Wow. That effect is really strong. I think this is a -1, but you get confiscation out of it. If you have a deck that can special summon a lot of little water monsters, and there will be a lot, like I'm thinking frogs and fishborgs and Atlanteans and a whole bunch of different little water monsters that you can tribute. And keep in mind that you don't have to send it to the graveyard. You can tribute a token if you can think of a good water token. I guess you could use a token with Kurogane too, but Aoi is great. It sends 2, and you can combo it with the water elemental. You can hand rip way too many cards even today. Yeah. It's a trap though. That's the only thing that's holding it back for me. the spiritual arts really play into the Charmer's whole deal. If the monsters were good, then the traps would pair perfectly with them. Oh, that's a backhanded compliment. Next up, Spiritual Fire Art Kurenai. Normal trap, tribute 1 fire monster, inflict damage to your opponent equal to that monster's original attack, and that can be a lot. So you could deal 2,800 damage with this card and a pretty decent monster. You have Blaster when you get the Dragon Rulers, and that's an excellent target. You can run this in Fire Kings. It's a tribute, so you don't get the destruction trigger, but this is your game ender. This is your win condition. Spiritual Fire Art FTK, yeah. It's just a trap, though. I can't imagine it just overcoming that inherent weakness of traps being so slow. And I think it's also a pseudo FTK because you gotta wait till your opponent's turn to activate it. So, card's great. It's definitely stolen a lot of games. I can see why people are excited for it. Next up, Spiritual Wind Dart Miyabi. Normal trap, tribute 1 wind monster, then target 1 card from your opponent, 1 card your opponent controls. Place that opponent's card on the bottom of the deck. So, I think this card should get some comparison to Phoenix Wing Windblast, and arguably this card is worse than that, which is a little interesting. It's to the bottom of the deck, and I don't know if that matters much. If you're returning something like an extra deck monster, it doesn't matter at all. But compare this to like Phoenix Wing Windblast or Ryza, where it denies your opponent's next draw. This card doesn't deny your opponent's next draw, but if they had something really useful, at least they can't get to it for a while. I think it's underwhelming. Does synergize with Kujaku, though. But in general, I think I'd rather discard a card than tribute a wind monster for this. Next up, Arrival Appears! Normal trap. Select 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Special summon 1 monster from your hand that has the same level as the selected monster. That's not a hard condition. Like, think about how the game is. So many formats are level mirror matches, not necessarily the same type or attribute or things, but a lot of centralization around level 3s, level 4s. You can get this card off pretty easily. The question is special summoning, a level 3 or a level 4, possibly during your opponent's turn, but you could wait till your turn, that good? I don't know if it's worth the card advantage. We get Hidden Soldiers in a little while, and Hidden Soldiers had some experimentation. If this was a spell card, it'd be great. But as a trap, I don't know. I can agree with that. That'd be cool. Another rival appears. This card could definitely have a retrain. Next up, Magical Explosion. Normal trap. Activate only while you have no cards in hand. Inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each spell card in your graveyard. And if you don't know, Magical Explosion is a pseudo FTK deck. This card, you fill your graveyard with lots of different spells, and then you wait till your opponent's turn, and then you hit them with Magical Explosion for lots of damage. This was your win condition in different burn decks. Is it still banned? I believe it's not banned. First design mistake. It was that one forever. Okay. Magical Explosion is still banned. But in the TCG, it is at 1. So, banned in the OCG, TCG at 1. That's a lot of damage, is really what it boils down to. Old Vindictive is putting his whole soul into that attack. I agree. I think you could argue that this is a design mistake. I think it's rewarding a bad playstyle more than anything. I think I'm not going to go out on a limb and say that burn damage is a problem and that no deck should ever do burn damage because it trivializes the way the game is played. But I like it when you're playing other cards. Some incidental burn damage, or maybe as your secondary win condition with Spiritual Fire Art Kurenai. I don't know. Banned in the OCG forever. Might put it in design mistake territory. This card was absolutely meta at different points in the game, and a menace. I don't think you'd play it today, though. Or maybe you would. Could you imagine this in Runic, maybe? Or a Magical Musketeer? Or I'm trying to think of other cards, other decks that just go through your spell cards. Maybe the new... I don't know. Maybe in a ritual deck? There are definitely ways that you could make this card okay. Or Sky Striker. Oh yeah, Sky Striker. I think we're going to keep it safely in design mistake for now. Next up, Rising Energy. Discard 1 card, then target 1 face-up monster on the field. Hey, you can target your opponent's monster if you want to. That target gains 1500 attack until the end of this turn. So, lore again. That's a Monk Fighter. Getting Rising Energy. He's still not good. I think that this is a lot of card disadvantage. You're going -2 for a decent amount of attack points. But you know what else could give you 1500 attack points? An Axe of Despair and a Black Pendant. And those would do it permanently. I think you could surprise your opponent with this. It's just, the discard is just so bad for me. I think we're just going to keep it in bad. Good old Bargain Ben Kalut. Oh, that's mean. Kalut the Moonshadow, though. That card's fantastic. I don't know when we're going to get to Blackwings, but yeah. Underwhelming Battle Trick. Here's a question. Would you be better off running Graceful Dice or Skull Dice? Maybe? Could definitely push more damage with Graceful Dice. I think I'd much prefer, I don't know, just destroy their monster with Widespread Ruin or something else. Sakuratsu Armor, Bottomless Trap Hole. There's a lot of better traps. Next up, DD Trap Hole. Normal trap. When your opponent sets exactly 1 monster and no other cards, target that set monster and 1 monster you control. Destroy those targets, and if you do, banish them. Why? Why does this take one of your monsters? Maybe it's lore. Like, this is a Goblin that always falls into the traps, right? And I guess the Moki Moki's coming too? I don't know. I think this card is easily outshadowed by Nobleman of Crossout, which is not great. It's slow, and it takes one of your cards too. I think it's just underwhelming. And it's sad too. Why does it only work on set monsters? I thought he was Elemental Hero Woodsman for a second, though. Trap Trick's 14th best trap hole card. I wonder if I can name 13 more trap holes. Let's try. So we got trap hole, bottomless trap hole, deep dark trap hole, treacherous trap hole, space-time trap hole. 14's a big number. I guess I only got 6. Chaos trap hole, but that one doesn't work in trap tricks because it's not a normal trap. Void trap hole, that's another one. Simultaneous trap hole, I want to say. I don't know. Trap tricks trap hole, nightmare, that one. There's a whole trap hole archetype, I guess. Next up, conscription. Normal trap. Excavate the top card of your opponent's deck. This has had problem-solving card deck. Excavate didn't used to be a mechanic. And if it is a monster that can be normal summoned or set, special summon it to your field. Otherwise, add that card to your opponent's hand. This card's a huge gamble, but I wouldn't say it's that bad. If you hit Blackluster Soldier Envoy at the beginning, for instance, that would be terrible, giving your opponent such a good power card. If you hit a spell card or a trap card, that would be bad, but at least you get to see it first. But if you hit, an average monster or even a boss monster that you can special summon, that's pretty good value off of a trap. Have you ever thought about ranking Rush Duel cards? The problem with Rush Duels is they don't have English cards. It'd take a lot of time to translate each one to make them visually. Imagine hitting DMOC off of this. Ooh, that'd be fantastic. I think the upside makes this card feel better. If you're in Magical Christmas Land, where this card hits all the right targets and never gives your opponent free cards, that's pretty fantastic. But maybe you use this in your gimmick deck if you already have Convulsion of Nature and then you know exactly what your opponent's next card is going to be. Then you can time it correctly. That wouldn't be that bad. I don't know. To me, I'm not a big gambling man, so probably not going to use it. I've thought about it, though. I've thought about it a lot. Next up, Dimension Wall. Normal trap. Activate only when your opponent's monster declares an attack. Instead of you, your opponent takes the battle damage you would have taken from this battle. It's so weird. I don't understand when this card is better than Magic Cylinder, where you negate the attack. I don't know. I guess this is better when you want your monster to actually get destroyed by battle, and then you give your opponent the damage. I just think that this is outclassed by a lot of different cards. Play Conscription and Spiral. Unfortunately, I think the game's too fast for traps by the time we get Spiral. Next up, we got another lore card. Prepare to Strike Back. So we already saw Attack on Goblin HQ. That was Marauding Captain's perspective on this event, where he's attacking the Goblin attack force, and now we get Prepare to Strike Back. Continuous trap. Each time your opponent declares a face-up defense position monster as an attack target, toss a coin and call it. If you call it right, change the targeted monster to attack position. If you call it wrong, the controller of this card takes damage equal to the amount that the attack of the attacking... What? The controller of this card takes damage equal to the amount that the attack of the attacking monster is higher than the defense of the attack target. That is such a weird way of saying, you know, piercing battle damage. I feel like this one needs some problem-solving card text. Lore from optimizing everything. I heard you read it and already forgot what it does. Yeah. Basically, your Goblin attack force in defense position, 50% chance to switch it to attack position, 50% chance to take some damage. Theoretically, the card could enable a strategy where you're running Goblin attack force and Giant Orc. It's interesting that Goblin Elite attack force doesn't work with this card because that card can't be shifted battle position. Period. Or maybe that card's just weirded word. Weirded word. Worded weirdly. Ooh. I think Dimension Wall is like Monster Reincarnation, a limited card that's weaker and at 3. I can agree with that. It might feel good for the flavor of the game. I just don't think you're running 3 copies of Magic Cylinder even. Like, if you had the option, maybe you would. I'm disappointed by Prepare to Strike Back, but the lore's cool. I don't understand why it has that downside. It's a real gamble, but even if it were good 100% of the time, would you even play it? Maybe in a gimmick deck. Next up, Des Voltsgolf. That name is terrible. Volts Golf. Earth attribute, level 6, Dragon effect. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Each time a normal or quick play spell card resolves, this card gains 200 attack until the end of this turn. Starts with 2200 attack, 1700 defense. This card's interesting. Would I say it's good? It's a little bit weird. It's an Earth Dragon. You don't see a lot of those. Or at least you didn't see a lot of those. You see more now. Little bit of chip damage. But I guess the real draw of the card is benefiting from normal or quick play spells. 200 attack isn't a lot, but you could possibly fire off 2 or 3 in one turn. I can see this pushing a little bit of damage, but it's underwhelming during the opponent's turn. Or is it? I guess you set your quick plays, and then during your opponent's turn, you can catch them off guard. I don't know. Shrink plus Des Volts Golf combo. I think we're just going to put in filler. Yeah, it used to be a really rare card back then. This was a Shonen Jump tournament promo. Now it comes in YS14, whatever that set is. Old version of this card are very expensive collector's pieces. Yeah. I don't know. Shonen Jump Championship cards seem like they're hit or miss. You got Cyberstein and like Doom Caliber Knight and Crush card. You get amazing cards out of it, and then you get mediocre ones like this. Next up, Silent Magician level 4. Each time, level 4, Light Spellcaster. Each time your opponent draws a card, place one spell counter on this card, max 5. This card gains 500 attack for each spell counter on it. During the standby phase of your next turn after the 5th spell counter is placed on this card, you can send this face-up card with 5 spell counters on it to the graveyard. Special summon one Silent Magician level 8 from your hand or deck. Let's see. Okay, so it doesn't look like you can special summon the level 8 with level up, unfortunately. $1,000 attack, 1,000 defense. Relying on your opponent to do something is always difficult. There's no inherent protection. It's pretty weak when it starts out. Your opponent can easily attack over it or hit it with Fissure or Smashing Ground. A lot of contemporary spells. And then the benefit for this is you get out the next one. So I guess we'll evaluate them together. Next up is Silent Magician level 8, and this card has alternate artwork, but I had to Frankenstein sew them together because the wiki version of this card art is indecipherable. So this is slightly older card text than the most recent version of it. Silent Magician level 8. Light attribute level 8, spellcaster effect, cannot be normal summoned or set, must be special summoned by Silent Magician 4 and cannot be special summoned by other ways. Unaffected by your opponent's spell cards. 3,500 attack, 1,000 defense. So it gets a little bit of protection and a big number. And that number is actually interesting. 5 spell counters, 500 attack points each. That means that Silent Magician level 4 would end up with 3,500 attack points. But the condition is just so hard. You gotta wait till your opponent's turn to even start accumulating counters, and then you gotta wait till your own standby phase. I think this is just another underwhelming level card. Would you prefer the Silent Swordsman? Yes. Would you prefer Horus the Black Flame Dragon? Yes. I think we just put them in. They're just so hard to use. I think we're just gonna put them in very bad. Even for it being a level monster, it is very slow. I can agree with that. And it's just underwhelming. What's your opponent gonna do? They're gonna summon a kaiju on it. Next up, Magician's Circle. Normal trap. When a spellcaster monster declares an attack, each player special summons one spellcaster monster with 2,000 or less attack from their deck in attack position. So earlier I mentioned this card, but I couldn't remember its name for some reason. And specifically with Different Dimension Master, because that is a spellcaster with less than 2,000 attack. So, pretty contemporary card. This card was great. You run this in a lot of different spellcaster decks. So it can be when your opponent's declaring an attack if they happen to have spellcaster, or if you are, you can push damage with this card. It's a really flexible tutor. It is symmetric, but most of the time it's not. Running into an opponent that's running spellcaster monsters isn't as common as it used to be. This card's funny because like everyone was running an Apprentice Magician or Magician of Faith or Old Vindictive, and you could get something out of your deck for free with this card if your opponent activated it, but now that's a lot less reliable. Most of the time this is just a free special summon from deck, amazing tutor, but it's a little slow. Artwork's interesting too. The artwork for the card art is Spellbinding Circle, but in the Japanese it's got the Seal of Solomon again. Sort of looks like what is it, Dark Magic Ritual? Next up, Guilford the Lightning. We're in the collectible 10s era, I guess. Light attribute, level 2, 4, 6, 8. Warrior effect. You can tribute 3 monsters to tribute summon, but not set, this card. If summoned this way, destroy all monsters your opponent controls. 2800 attack, 1400 defense. That is not a bad payoff. We also have Moisture Creature in the game already, I believe. And Moisture Creature does similar effect, but it works on spell cards instead. Getting in a position where you can throw away 3 monsters, though, is hard. I can see this card, being win more, but I like how Guilford the Lightning sort of has a Lightning Vortex inspired effect, or I guess a Raigeki effect. Another lightning card. Raigeki at 3 tribute, exactly. Sort of feels like a god card effect too, because it requires 3 tributes. It's not bad. It's just hard to get to that number. This was Joey's god card, yeah? we have Egyptian god cards at home, I guess. Being able to have 3 monsters in your normal summon left over in the face of a full field is a pretty win more condition. Yeah. I'm trying to think what situation that would be in. You don't have Inferno Reckless Summon yet. You don't have a lot of cards that could just special summon them. Strange that Guilford hasn't had a retrain recently. He seems popular back in the day. I always thought that Guilford was a retrain. Like, we got Guilford the Lightning and Guilford the Legend. And I always thought that they were also Gearfried. Maybe they are. Maybe it's a weird translation issue. Or maybe at one point they were intended to be and then it got shifted around. Not gonna back that horse. Speaking of horse, Exarian Universe. I guess speaking of centaur. Dark attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior effect. It seems like we got a lot of different Beast Warriors with Cybernetics, Cyclopean, Exarian Universe, Indomitable Fighter Lele, and even Voice Raider, which is coming up next. I wonder if there was just like a Beast Warrior sub-theme? We got Rocks in the Lost Millennium and this Beast Warriors, maybe. I don't know. Guilford got a Rush Duel retrain. That's nice. Anyway, Exarian Universe, Dark Attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior effect. During your battle phase, if this card attacks a defense position monster, you can make this card lose exactly 400 attack, and if it does, it will inflict piercing battle damage. These effects last until the end of this turn. 1800 attack, 1900 defense. There's some pretty decent Beast Warriors in the game. You also got Chiron the Mage. It sort of feels like there's a Beast Warrior beatdown theme. This card saw play. It saw medic success. I don't quite know why. I guess it's a option to push damage if you want to. It was a different time. I'll put it that way. 1, why is he named Universe? 2, how did he see meta play? I don't know. I've seen him in meta deck lists at the time, though. I think it's like Reflect Bounder, where it was just the right circumstance. There are a lot of good beasts. Good against Scapegoat tokens. I can agree with that. So was Air Knight Parshaf and the Enraged Battle Ox. There's a lot of decent Beast Warrior support right now. We're at a critical juncture, I think. Next up, Voice Raider. Dark Attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior, normal. This wicked Beast Warrior does every horrid thing imaginable and loves it. His axe bears the marks of his countless victims. 1900 attack, 1200 defense. I'm trying to think if you use Force Raider for a Rescue Rabbit Beast Warrior deck. Because it is level 4 and it's got 1900 attack, which isn't bad. I don't know. Just thinking about that though. One, they actually got his type right. He is a Beast Warrior. But he does every horrid thing imaginable. The more you think about it, the worse it gets. I don't know. I don't even know where to place this card. I think you got to retrain too. Good in Tenki decks too, yeah. But everything's good with Tenki. Seems like a decent Rescue Rabbit target, but I don't know what XZs you would summon with it, yeah. I guess anything in the generic rank 4 pool. Force Raider was a decent Rescue Rabbit target for Tenki. I could see. But where does that leave him? It's not really an archetype. It's not really a gimmick. Was it seeing widespread success? I don't know. Maybe I need a good at 1 point tier. Next up, Rocket Warrior. Light attribute, level 4, warrior effect. During your battle phase, this card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you take no battle damage from attacks involving this card. If this card attacks a monster after damage calculation, that attack target loses 500 attack until the end of this turn. 1500 attack, 1300 defense. And just think about this for a second. This is a monster that you need to get onto the field. It needs to attack. You take no damage. It doesn't get destroyed. But that's a lot of hoops for reducing the attack points of a monster by 500. You know what does a better job than this? Dark Jetroid. And Dark Jetroid does it permanently whenever it's summoned. So it can be flip summoned, special summoned, normal summoned. Yes, this is something that you could pull out with Rhoda compared to Dark Jetroid, or I believe Amazonas Blowpiper does something similar too. I don't understand why this card's so bad. And this card was on the 10. Like, would you rather get Force Raider, Exarian Universe, Guildford the Legend, or Rocket Warrior? I'd like any of the other ones. And I believe Dark Magician Girl was on one of the 10s too. I think it's just bad. It's such a marginal benefit. It's just not worth it. Next up, Panther Warrior. Earth attribute, level 4, Beast Warrior effect. Look, another one. This card cannot declare an attack unless you tribute one monster. 2000 attack, 1600 defense. For the record, you contribute goat tokens. That's not that big of a cost. But would you rather be using your goat tokens for something else? Maybe. This card is sort of like the unfriendly Amazon. But I guess that card was searchable. I know Panther Warrior becomes searchable later. I don't know. I find it underwhelming. I think it's just going to be bad. 10s are not stacking up to be great. Next up, Let's see the Warrior's Triumph Structure Deck. Cover card is Guilford the Legend. 2, 4, 6, 8, level 8. Warrior effect. Cannot be special summoned. Why? That'd make this card significantly better. When this card is normal summoned, you can equip as many equip spells from your graveyard as possible to a warrior type monsters you control. So this card is your comeback card. This is your recovery card. It only triggers on normal summon anyway, so why can't I special summon this monster? That restriction just confuses me. You gotta tribute 2 monsters for this. And then you can recur some okay spell cards? I think the payoff's just not there. Gearfried the Swordsman had better payoff, I think. The good news is you can equip it to anything, so I guess this enables your Ben K OTK or your Mataza the Zapper beatdown. I think the structure deck just didn't need this card. And it's sad because I like that effect. I think, to tell the truth, the Kickman does a better job than Guilford the Legend, because the Kickman triggers on special summon and equips a equip spell from your graveyard to itself. I think you get more value out of the Kickman because you can bring it out with Pyramid Turtle. That's janky, but I think it would work. And it only works on your warriors too. So you gotta build your whole deck around it. The cover monsters just are not stacking up to be particularly good yet. When did we get to Grapha? Like, Grapha was a great cover monster, to tell the truth. Next up, Warrior Lady of the Wasteland. Earth Attribute, level 4, Warrior effect. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 Earth Warrior monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in attack position. 1100 attack, 1200 defense. And the fact that we got like Mass Dragon and Silent Insect before this card makes this card more confusing to me. That it only works on Earth Warriors. Because Mass Dragon and Silent Insect worked on all the insects and all the dragons with 1500 or less attack points. And it still summons in an attack position, while both of those cards could summon in defense position, and they were also lower level, could get under Gravity Bind. I don't understand why this card has this restriction. Would it be too good to bring out Mataza the Zapper? Maybe? I think you're honestly better running Rat as a Rat toolbox than you are for this card, because Rat necessarily gets everything that this card gets, plus all the other Earth Attribute monsters with 1500 attack that can be special summoned from the deck. The structure decks from the era were very underwhelming, yeah. I think they didn't have to be. Maybe the structure decks are meant to be not good and then you're supposed to enhance them, but you're starting off on such shaky ground and you're teaching your players bad strategies through the structure decks. I just don't understand why this card's got so many restrictions against it. It's important for the lore though, because this is heavily implied to be DD Warrior Lady before she enters the different dimension. So that's interesting, at least. Be a little bit cooler if this card could, actually get out DD Warrior Lady from its effect. Like if you drop that Earth restriction. Just saying. Next up, Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. Equip spell. Equip only to a warrior type monster. It gains 300 attack. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can remove from play 2 warrior type monsters in your graveyard, add this card to your hand. I don't see anything wrong with this effect. Like, finally, they made an equip card that you don't have to go so minus on. Like, equip cards have that flaw of they pop your monster and they get a freebie off of it. Absolutely nothing could go wrong from this effect of just giving you free card advantage over and over, not once per turn. Especially when you have such ready access to your extra deck and this card becomes searchable by a particular noble knight. I don't see this card having any problems in the future. In all seriousness, though, Divine Sword Phoenix Blade, unfortunately, it's a design mistake, and it's a design limiting card, and they can't get equip spells right. Once per turns are so overrated anyway. Phoenix Blade is at 3 nowadays since Isolde got banned. Is it banned in the OCG still? Is that what I'm thinking? Okay, it is forbidden in the OCG is what I'm thinking. It is at 3 in the TCG. I think maybe Isolde is really the problem, but there's still other degenerate things that you can do with just free ammo. There's also fun things that you can do with free ammo. I'm not arguing that point. You can also, fill up your banish zone and then bring it back contemporarily with like dimension fusion or return from the different dimension. This could be your secondary win condition. It also is really functional in the warrior structure deck if it had better warriors that it could go on. Like if you had Throwstone unit or I'm trying to think. Just some good targets for it. The effect's pretty good. I don't know. I think since it's unbanned in the TCG and at 3, I think you're only having gimmick applications for it. But in the OCG, it's a design mistake. But that might just be Isolde being the problem. We'll think on that. I like the card. It's one of those cards like Substitute. When it's used in the way that it's intended, it's a cool and relatively balanced card. Isolde is the problem, but I feel like Phoenix Blade will become broken eventually again. I agree. I think it's a design limiting card, unfortunately. Next up, we have the counterplay to the Warrior Structure deck coming out in the tournament pack immediately after it. Because Konami thought that it was going to be too strong otherwise. I really don't know. We got Warrior Elimination. Destroy all warrior monsters on the field. Real simple effect. There's one of these for a lot of different types. Not every type, but there's Eradicating Aerosol for insects, Eternal Drought for fish, Breath of Light for rocks, Last Day of Witch for spellcasters, Acid Rain for machines, and then the unreleased Sun Shower for zombies that never came out, but was in Forbidden Memories, I think. It's interesting that there's so many of these. I think this card didn't see a lot of play just because it's in a tournament pack and it wasn't the easiest card to get. But there's a lot of formats where this card was in your side deck. Coming out in the main deck, not too often though. I wish this card were in GOAT. I think it'd make GOAT more interesting, because then you'd have a little bit more counterplay to the warrior toolbox. That it might be broken in Go, to be honest, because there's just warriors running around everywhere. Next up, DD Warrior. So we had DD Warrior Lady ages ago. Finally, we get DD Warrior. Level 4, Earth Attribute, Warrior Effect. After damage calculation, when this card battles a monster, banish that monster, also banish this card. 1200 attack, 1000 defense. Can this card miss the timing? After damage calculation, when this card battles a monster. I'm trying to think if there are effects that can activate that can cause this card to miss the timing. I know the damage step is weird. I agree, warrior elimination too specific for today. But there's points in the game where it was okay. DD Warrior. This is an Earth Attribute Warrior, so I guess this is what Warrior Lady of the Waste was building to. Can't have DD Warrior Lady. We have DD Warrior Lady at home. I think it's honestly just outclassed. Artwork's cool. Next up, Fortress Whale. Water Attribute, level 7, Fish Ritual. Don't see a lot of fish rituals until we get to Gishki. Or are Gishki Aqua? I think some of the ones are fish. You can ritual summon this card with Fortress Whale's Oath. 2300 attack, 2100 defense. Oh, I'm sorry, 2150 defense. More defense. And we judge our rituals with their spells. Fortress Whale's Oath, ritual spell. This card is used to ritual summon Fortress Whale. You must also tribute monsters from your hand or field whose total level equals 7 or more. I think this is a non-effect ritual monster with extremely mediocre stats. Those might actually be Serpent Knight Dragon stats now that I think of it. 2350 attack is pretty familiar. Okay. Serpent Knight Dragon actually has more defense points than this card. That card has 2,400 defense. Interesting. I remember when Fortress Whale was a collector's item because they didn't reprint it until the Speed Duel packs. There's a lot of tournament pack cards that still haven't had a reprint, which is crazy to me. Why was this a collector's item? Why were people collecting this? And like Des Voltsgraph. I think we're just going to keep it in very bad. Artwork's cool though. I like the lore. Next up, Haniwa. Earth Attribute, level 2, Rock. An earthen figure that protects the tomb of an ancient ruler. 500 attack, 500 defense. Are there any good level 2 rocks effect monsters that you could bring out with Rescue Hedgehog with this card? I think you might bring out the Gorgon? The Gorgon might be level 3. Law of the Normal lore, yeah? This is also real life lore. I think this is the same creature that the gyros from Animal Crossing are based on. There are these weird statues. And it's in a Konami video game too. And then this card even has another counterpart that I don't think ever got to the TCG. There's a lot of little lore to this card. I'm trying to think. This card might be useful with Hedgehog. But that's it. Where are the other normal monsters ending up? Put it next to Psychroid, maybe? Psychroid. Put it right here. Potentially useful. Next up, Prisman. Light attribute, level 3, rock. This crystalline monster focuses light to create a lethal laser. 800 attack, 1000 defense. I don't think that's how lasers work. Lasers are stimulated emissions of radiation, not focused. So I don't think it's an actual laser. But it's not the laser acronym, so maybe it's pop culture laser? I don't know. Prisman. Is this the same level as Crystal Rose? I'm trying to think if there are a lot of light rocks in the game. Unfortunately, Crystal Rose is level 2, so you can't even combo this with that. Pretty much all low-level monsters could be good one day, and a meta deck needs their specific type, stat, all their specific properties. I agree. I feel like they just wanted a new rock for every level. I don't know. It's so weird that it's light attribute too. Like, I get it, but just put it next to Soitsu, I guess. Next up, Millennium Golem. So this card, Japanese name, Sennen. It's got the same Sennen as Sennenjin, the Millennium item collector guy. I don't know if that's relevant, but it might be important for an archetype inclusion at some point. But Millennium Golem, level 6, rock. For nearly a millennium, this golem has served as guardian of an ancient treasure trove. 2000 attack, 2200 defense. Pretty underwhelming. I think it's just bad. Bad normal monster. Do I think that Prisman is related to Prisma? Maybe. I can see that. Next up, Digbeak. Earth attribute, level 2, beast. This beast coils like a snake and strikes quickly with its snapping beak. 500 attack, 800 defense. I thought this was a snake. At least Millennium's Golem is meta. That's true. Digbeak's another one that's got another counterpart. I think we even had a level 2 normal beast in the last one. We're just going to put all the tournament pack normal monsters together. So that may be Nekogal too. We got Nekogal number 1 last time, so why not twice as good? This one's level 6, the last one was level 3. Earth attribute, beast warrior, a fast and lethal creature with very dangerous claws. 1900 attack, 2000 defense. We'll put it right next to Millennium Golem. I think the tournament cards, the tournament pack cards are really hit or miss. Occasionally you get either an amazing reprint, like Royal Decree or Imperial Order, I believe, but a lot of them are pack filler too. I don't know why. I also don't quite know how tournament packs were distributed. If you went to the tournament, you got them for free, or you had to place in a tournament or something. I really don't know. But I think that's the list for Cybernetic Revolution and all the minor card releases between it and the next main booster pack. And overall, we got some decent cards, much better than the Lost Millennium. I think 6 worth considering today is pretty good batting average. A handful that were meta at least once. And honestly, some of the worst cards in the game, too, with Transcendent Wings and Pot of Generosity. It's all about the diversity. We're going to save. I remember to copy the description. Save. And download image. That's the stream for tonight. Next stream is, let me check. Shadow of Infinity, is that right? I'm not sure. But next set, we get some serious heavy hitters, which is exciting. Thank you for watching the stream. Good night, everyone.